What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You join me in the storage room of the basement of my house, and what you're looking at right here are the Michelin Cross Climate 2 tires that my father bought for his car last year. I have yet to do a review video of any kind on these, but I will do one once these tires are back on the Ford. These tires are going back on the Ford this week, actually, so that's why I'm making this video. And they will stay on it, so these are going to become the permanent year-round tires. These are all-weather tires as opposed to the Pirellis that are on my dad's car right now, which are all seasons. They're the Scorpion Verde all seasons. They came with the car from the factory. These tires he bought last year, and we used them as winter tires, and then we swapped back to the Pirellis. Now, one thing I noticed is that we had to pay $100 to dismount these and remount the Pirellis, and we could have just traded those in entirely and saved a bit of money rather than spending needless money just changing tires off the same set of wheels. So that's why, you know, if you have two sets of wheels, it doesn't cost anything at Discount Tire anyway. Firestone will still charge you for this. I don't know why, but if you have two sets of tires, you take it to Discount Tire, they'll put them on for free as a bolt-on. But if you don't, and you just swap tires to the same wheels, you have to pay for that. So we're going to trade the Pirellis in. We are going to keep them for another month. We're going to trade them in, as well as the winter tires that are on my mom's winter wheels, for a new set of winter tires on her winter wheels. Excuse the humidifier, or excuse me, dehumidifier noise. So those tires back there belong to the Mercedes. They are the Michelin Latitude X Ice 2s, and you might remember that these tires came out of the box already 2 years old, but the tread had never been used before. So that means at the start of next year, these tires are going to be 5 years old. And I realize we can eke it out until 6, but the new Nokian Hakkapeliitta R5 SUV just came out, so we're going to trade these tires, as well as the Pirellis, which I talked about on Dad's car, in for some Hakkapeliitta R5 SUVs on these wheels. And then we have these wheels here, which are for the Mousemobile. I'm probably going to eke it out until next year. So this will be the third season on these tires. These are the Continental Viking Contact 7 winter tires. Great tires. I have pretty much no complaints, other than the fact that the traction just isn't what it was with the Blizzaks, which were the first set of winter tires I ever drove on. So that's a bit of a bummer, but the wear is significantly better than a Blizzak, and to tell you the truth, I would never go back. But if I were to replace these tires, they would be with the Nokian Hakkapeliitta R5s, which are basically the same as the R5 SUV, just minus the Aramid sidewalls. And when we get those tires for the Mercedes, I'm going to do a pretty cool review on those, because they have new Arctic grip crystals as opposed to the outgoing cryo crystals found on the R3 and the R2. So that's pretty much it tire-wise. So these are going back on the Ford this Wednesday. The winter tires are not going to be reinstalled until next month, though, mainly because there are still a few warm days, and, well, warm days and winter tires don't mix. You will lose traction, braking distances increase, and tread wear increases as well. So there is no advantage to running winter tires in warmer weather, or, God forbid, all year round. So that's tire stuff aside. Now let's talk about car updates. Now you notice the Ford is gone, and that's because my dad went to a meeting he had for work, even though it's a Sunday. That car, I can tell you right off the bat, is doing pretty well. Just under 28,000 miles after just over 3 years, which is amazing. And I know the pandemic has to do with the low mileage, but that car does not need to go to the dealer for another couple of months, because I remember we drove that car so much last year that we actually racked up a few miles and it needed to go to the dealer a bit early, because I noticed that the oil life was like 33% or something like that. And I was like, wow, we've been driving this a lot lately. So yeah, this car, the Mousemobile, needs a new suspension system. And when I took the car to the dealer for its last ever dealer visit last year, I was advised on the rear shocks because they were leaking. Now the shop I go to, which is sort of near me, it's in Oswego, they said all 4 around need to be done, so the rear shocks and the front struts. Now, unfortunately, there is a caveat because OEM parts cannot be found for this car because the parts are on back order. This is what the shop told me. So they advised that I look up a racing kit. So I have found a BC Racing coilover kit, and I have ordered that. It should arrive sometime within the week or next week, and then I'll just bring those parts to the shop and they'll put them on the car. So thankfully it is a shop in which you can bring your own parts, and they'll just put them on and you pay for labor, and then you pay the distributor for the parts. So yeah, now the cost I had to incur was $1,200 for the suspension setup, but well, I'd still say that's a lot better than $2,000 or even $3,000. Say your suspension fails on you while driving and causes other damage to your vehicle. That's never fun. Insurance doesn't like that, and then you have to call for a tow if you can't drive the car. So rather not have that happen. The other thing this car needs is a new shift boot, because unfortunately the cheap plastic clips that hold the shift boot to the shift lever broke again. So you might remember I already had that replaced once. Now it needs a new one. And I do have one on hand. I've had it for a couple of months now. I was going to DIY it, but I'll probably have the shop install it. I don't know if I want to have them do that right now, though, because I'm probably going to have them do it when I'm closer to selling the car, so that way, you know, I'm not at risk of having them break yet again, because that would just really piss me off, to tell you the truth. Because those boots, I mean, they are inexpensive, but it adds up if you have to keep buying them. So it's just like phone screens. If you break them all the time, it's not worth having them fixed every single time, because you're a klutz and you break your phone a lot. So might as well just eke it out and let it break completely before you have it done. But anyway, before I get carried away, I'm going to talk about the Mercedes. So believe it or not, this car has been nothing but good to us this year. Last year, this was not the case, because it threw 3 different check engine lights, one of which was flashing. The other 2 were solid, but both times the check engine light came on solid, it was a pretty expensive fix, and we did it, but we're no longer going to the dealer for that reason, because the car is no longer under warranty and we have to pay out of pocket for things now. We're going to the same shop I take the Mousemobile to, because they do pretty much all makes and models, unless you own a Bugatti or a Koenigsegg or some other high-end $1 million exotic. Now, they probably will do Lamborghinis, mainly because most of the parts are Audi-based, because Lamborghini is in the Volkswagen Audi group. But anyway, back to the Mercedes. So you might remember I pointed out at the beginning of this year that I noticed an oil leak. Well, turns out that's not a leak at all, because from what the shop told me, it seems like the dealer made a mess of things while trying to change the oil filter, and so it looked like an oil leak, but turns out it wasn't. So saved $200 there, because the Mercedes dealer was going to charge $200 just to diagnose the problem, And imagine that. Diagnose the problem to find out there's nothing wrong with it and pay $200 for nothing. So definitely saved a chunk of change there. But here's what was done. When we went to the Mercedes dealer in June, we had the wiper blades replaced for about $88. So that was all around, front and rear. The front brakes were also inspected because these rotors are 6 years old, and well, after so many miles, they're eventually going to have to be replaced. But thankfully, that was not the case, because the brake pads still have about 7 or 6 millimeters of wear left, and then the brake rotors themselves are in excellent condition for being 6 years old. The braking power is still phenomenal. So we'll probably get maybe 2 more years out of those brakes before they have to be replaced. We also had a service B done, so it was an oil change, brake fluid flush, stuff like that. I forgot the other items in the service B. I don't have them off the top of my head right now, but I know it is a lot more than a service A, which is basically an oil and filter change. So they probably did some filters as well. But anyway, the other thing that was done was an alignment, and then there was one more thing. We had a coolant flush done because that's never been done. The alignment was done because I noticed that the steering wheel was a little off-centered going straight, and that drives me crazy. I'm a bus driver, and a lot of buses I've driven are like that, and the workshop refuses to fix it. So, yeah, double whammy. Because I'm used to that already. I had to get used to that driving a bus. And my bus last year was like that. And I was like, man, how am I ever going to get used to this? So yeah, alignment was done, which will help with tire tread wear as well. Because having the car misaligned will adversely affect your tires' tread wear, which may require replacement tires a lot sooner than you would imagine. So these are just preventative things, especially with the coolant, because I did see some sediment in the overflow reservoir. So when you see that, it's time to get your coolant flushed. But yeah, we had it done because it had never been done before, and it's been 6 years. You probably could go 10 years. I'm not sure what the interval is on Mercedes, but definitely not advisable to go over 10 years. I know the coolant on Hondas can go for 10 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. So the next time this car goes to the shop, I'll have the coolant done as well. So I just figured out another thing my car needs. But as far as everything else goes, everything was in the green on the shop's report that we were given when we got the bill. So nothing in the yellow or, God forbid, the red. So yeah, there you have it. This Mercedes has been nothing but good to us this year, and I'm happy about that because that's the way it should be, because Mercedes-Benz are not cheap, and generally speaking, a lot of these German cars, they're known for breaking down a lot, especially BMW. So I'm glad this car is not anything like that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this update video. If you did, please smash the thumbs up button in the face. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on post notifications. Do what you guys do best, and peace out till next time. But before I go, if you're wondering why I haven't uploaded a few videos like from SirenCon or whatever, it's because there's been an issue with my Power Director app on my phone where if I piece together a couple videos that have like sudden movements or fast moving particles or pieces shown in the video, like for example, a siren's rotor, that moves at a pretty high rate of speed. So for some reason, if you group videos together that are like that with a lot of moving parts, the video lags, and that drives me nuts. Especially considering the fact that premium costs about $35 every year for Power Director. I haven't tried Power Director for PC, but from what I see, it seems like I might have to buy the license, which is expensive as well. I mean, I don't mind it. It's just that it's a pain in the butt having to pay for something more than once when you already have Power Director Premium on your phone. So in this case, it would be buying the license for PC. But yeah, I'm not going to do that if I'm just going to have the same problem. And customer support really isn't helping me because they want me to isolate the issue. I don't know what they mean. So if anyone can help me with Power Director, that would be appreciated. But until next time, peace out for real.